Ladewaybac here, and today I'll be doing a beginner's guide to Asuka. And by beginner's guide, I just mean that we're going to be focusing on test case 1. So if you follow this guide closely, I guarantee you will get some Asuka wins. Let's start with the punches. Now, standing P is a typical stand P, has some good range to it, good for stopping people who jump in and dash on you, so you can get a counter hit and then combo them afterwards. And crouching P, you can chain with one of your fast spells. You can do this explosion one, which will get a combo, which doesn't do much damage. But you can also throw the blue projectile out. You get a nice little combo there. And if that's hard for you, because you have to dash up a little bit after that. You gotta dash up a little bit and go for the you go for the 5S or the 2S. But that's too hard. You can just do 2, and then you don't have to move at all. You stand still, just do it there. And also, this can be followed with an overdrive to maximize damage off of counter punch or a regular punch or whenever you're landing a punch. Alright, now we have our 5K and our 2K. 2K will normally go into a 2D afterwards. Let me take off the block on the opponent. So we'll do a 2K and 2D most of the times if we're using a 2K. Now, normally you don't have to really do that because you'll be far away. You'll be using your 5D like so. And now our 5K is pretty good. It has a deceptively long range. I mean, look at that. Look where you're hitting from. So that's very far. You can dash off of it. And a cool thing you could do is with the blue spell, right? You can cancel that and then do it like a dash after the K into the blue spell. You get you a little something there. And even if they're like blocking, right? We have them doing the 2P afterwards. That'll hit if they're trying to like button out of it. I'm forgetting the term. Mash out of it. So we'll just do that. And we get ourselves a little combo and we can throw in an overdrive as well after that. Lastly, with 5K, if you're doing a combo like so, and you can't really do anything else after that, like obviously you can extend it with your spell, but if that's all you got, or you're not looking to use a spell, just 5K, dash, and then you're maintaining the pressure. Next up, we have our 5D. Now 2D. Now 2D is a very good button. You could say you could argue is Asuka's best button, as you can see how far it goes. And if you hit that, even if they're blocking, we're having enough time to get some charge in. So you want to keep your mana high. And maybe you need to refill some spells or replace some spells. Then throw out the 2D and then do that afterwards if it makes contact. Now one thing you can do after this is there's a safe jump to it. So what you want to do is you want to hit that. You want to charge, or you can even switch your test case if that's something you want to do. Charge. And that's your safe jump. What you want to do is after you hit this, you want to charge and then immediately do a dash, like a micro dash, and then jump in. And then that is your safe jump. Also, you could when you're deep in there, you could just do it, go like that to get another overhead, as your opponent will be standing because he wants to block your jumping attack. And if you hit it, you can do something like that. So you hit that and then hit the D in the air, and then you can cast your explosion spell. Now just to show you that it's a safe jump, I'll do it again, but I'll have our opponent doing the DP on wake up. What is it? Vapor thrust. So we have him doing DP. Do it the same way. As you can see, he is not hitting us with that DP. Now for our slashes, we have our 5S and our 2S. They have the same exact range. One goes low, one is middle or high or whatever you want to call it. And they can all be chained into both be chained into their heavy slash. And just so you know, when you hit an opponent with a heavy slash, you can overdrive. So a lot of times how I like to use S is if let's say I cast a spell and it hits, I just run up and hit those both buttons. You can do the standing one as well, and then you can finish with an overdrive too. So that's usually how I use S, and I think that's the best case to use it. They're fairly decent pokes, rather fast, And yeah, that's it for slash. Now for our heavy slash, our 5H. Now it's our second furthest move that hits rather far. And the only thing I can say about this is it's kind of slow, but it's it's not too slow. So it's nice to throw out there every now and then. And you can always follow it up with a spell. Now, if you're gonna want to combo it on a hit, then you're gonna have to use the blue spell right here. Now, I won't chain if it's max range. But if you're a little closer than that, then you will get a hit off of it. And the best way to combo after that is just to throw out your other spells. You follow up and do a little something like that. Now our 2H is a multi-hitting move, great for pressure. So if our opponent is blocking, usually you want to cast a spell afterwards if they block it because you want to maintain your pressure. But also it's a very good combo tool. Very easy to combo with. So let's just hit it raw here. Just do it 3 times. Hit that 2K at the end, and then overdrive. So it's a fairly good combo tool. So for the 2H and the 5H, both are pretty much frame traps, right? So we have our opponent do a 2P whenever he blocks one of our attacks. So if we do a close slash to a heavy slash, it will be blocked. Close slash into 2H, it will be blocked. But if you do 2 hits first, natural frame trap for either or. So if your opponent is trying to mash out on you, he will be punished and he could potentially lose half his life. Now, we can just do a spell afterwards if we get close, if we get that one. You can be as creative you want with Asuka, because you can extend the combos with your spells, but the yellow's easier to combo off with. So you don't have to use a second spell, you just use one spell and then do a 5K and then use your overdrive afterwards, and look at that, that's more than half of Kai's health. Now 2H, really easy to do. Just do the same thing over. And we got tons of damage. It could be a little harder with the blue spell or the green spell, but if you have to, you can just switch it up. It's kind of hard to get that last one, and you won't get the 5K because they won't be as high. Sometimes you'll be able to get the 2K, but you normally won't get the 5K there. So on the last 2H, you can just use your overdrive afterwards, like so. No need for the 5K, just do the overdrive. And if you don't think they'll go through the wall, just cast a second one. That's if you have the meter to do so. Next up, we have our 6K. So we get a natural, if we use a K first, or 2K, we get a natural frame trap. Won't happen with close slash. Now it's a 2-hitting low. So especially if you're somebody who likes to go, like me, who likes to go for tick throws, but our opponent is mashing out of it, let me just throw this out. Our 6K. And if we're right next to them, we can go for a close slash. Do something like this. Or we could extend the combo with our spell. And cancel into an overdrive. But you won't always be that close. Maybe you're hitting from max range. So just immediately cast a spell afterwards. And then proceed to combo. Now for our 6H, the overhead. The cool thing about this overhead is you can cast a spell afterwards. Well, the yellow one depends on the range that you are, because it comes out so slow. So you really gotta be a little closer for the yellow. And then you proceed to combo afterwards. Even with the green, it scoops them off the ground, or the blue, and you just proceed to combo afterwards. Now, staying on the topic of 6H, a good option for you is to purple Roman cancel after you hit it, or whether they block it. So if you hit it, plenty of time to run up and just do a combo. Let me do it correctly this time. Easy to combo. And when you overdrive, be sure to do a heavy slash afterwards. I forgot to mention that. You can hit your opponent while they're still getting hit by the overdrive. So let me just mention that now. Now, if our opponent is blocking, so we have they'll block switch. Save up block. We also want to purple cancel. Why? Purple cancel again. Why? Because we can go low, or we can do an instant overhead because they're forced to stand block. And if let's say we purple cancel, we hit the instant overhead, we can just, if I get it right, we can do our jump and then do our explosion spell. I don't know what the actual name is, but so I'll just call it explosion spell. And then we can do a backdash into like a heavy slash or something, or we could just what I like to do is just land with a slash. So I'll show you again. Well, you can dash afterwards, but it's probably not practical. And you can land with a slash, or you just land and just do a 2H instead, a 2S instead, or a 2K, or whatever you can to catch them. So it kind of turns it into a 50-50. So if you're jumping with your explosion spell, just hit the overhead, land, and do your heavy your slash in the air, or just land and go low. So I'll show you the low version, although I'm sure you guys get it already. Just land, do something like that. But the 2K will be quicker, so that's probably the better option. And now that we've gone over all the buttons, basically I'm sure you've seen from going through this video that you can basically extend all your combos with your offensive spells. Except for this one mid-screen, you won't be able to extend much off of that unless it's in the corner, because you do get a bounce. So if you hit that in the corner, you get a bounce, and then you know, just kind of do whatever combo. But like also, like, keep in mind, like, even if you hit somebody in the air, cast a spell, man. Cast a spell. Asa's kind of like Soul in that sense, where you could basically convert off of almost anything, man. So be sure to always like know where your spells are, and then when you get those certain situations, be sure to cast them and expend your spells, man. And he's not hard to combo with. As you see, I'm like doing different combos on a reg. He's not hard to combo at all. Now the regular spells, the projectile spells, I'll get into the other spells as well, but the projectile spells are pretty self-explanatory. The yellow one's better for the combos, and you know, it's easy to zone with all of them. And I want to go over the explosion spell right here. Now, cool thing you could do is maybe you're close by and you get a close slash and then go right into that. Their guard broke for a while. I forgot what it's called. Guard crushed for a while. So you just run up and just grab them. It's fairly hard to react to, since like if you just wait like a small, like maybe like a half a second, and just run up and grab, you get the timing down. Because the guard crush doesn't last as long, so it's easy to like trick your opponent a little bit, just sneak in a grab there. And another cool thing you do is instead of that, you can just kind of do an instant overhead with it. Well, it's not. It doesn't count as an overhead because they can block it while crouching, but you can land with a slash and go into a 2K. I'll just do a kick and then go into a 2K. Or just go into the 2K. Or just run up and grab them. So it's kind of a cool little trick there. If you do it really fast, then like it's a natural block string. But if it's delayed just a little bit, which like it's kind of hard to get the actual like, it's hard to do it in the fastest motion where like it's actually naturally blocked. But here, to explain better, I'll just have Kai do a standing P. So see how I did it as fast as I could and I still got a hit. If you do it a little faster, then they will be forced to block it. So it'll be like a natural block string. See, like so. So a lot of times I end up getting a hit here anyways. So, you know, And but if you know if he's not counterattacking and it's just blocked, then you have some options. You can go for overhead or just land and go low. And that setup is even better in the corner because if they get hit, they get bounced off the wall. And if they block, then they have to block a whole lot in the corner. Oh, that was wrong. So you get a combo like that in the corner if they do get bounced off the wall. So, you know, it's very effective. And look, and that's a hard block screen to deal with. And you don't have to end it like how I do. You can throw a couple of spells in there and keep the corner pressure, man. So, yeah, I suggest when you got the explosion spell, go for a close slash if you can, and then do a jump afterwards. So let's go over the other spells in test case 1. This one in my punch slot, that is the spell that refills your hand. So let's say you haven't been replenishing your spells, so I'll just use the other ones here. And if I use it, everything gets filled back up. And now the one that's in the heavy slash area or slot, that one lowers the spell cost of our spells. So if we use it, you see our meter turns into like an orangey yellow. So then now we can cast spells for a lower cost. Now this spell that's on our heavy slash, let's get our opponent to stop blocking here. This is a low, really good at mid-range. You can use it in the sky, but you know it won't count as a low if you jump. So if you use it on the ground, you could always run up and follow up with it and just use overdrive afterwards. Or if you're not in range, you can just do your overdrive right afterwards. Which for some reason I can't do, like so. So nothing too crazy, just a long hitting low, kind of like your 2D. And now this one that's on the heavy slash is just the opposite of the other one, except it goes overhead. So this one is very effective. I love using this one because when my opponent is blocking all my attacks, I throw this out, and I just kind of know it's gonna hit most of the time, especially since people aren't quite used to Asuka yet. So unless they are, maybe they are now. So it depends on when you're watching this video. So they'll be looking at, if they see the spell, then they'll probably look out for it. So they'll watch out for the overhead. But as for me right now, it hits rather easily, and same kind of follow-ups you can do, as same as the previous spell. Now the current spell that is in the heavy slash spot, the one all the way at the end, this is, I would say, my favorite spell for the test case 1, as when you summon it, all your projectiles go a lot faster, like way faster, and they also guard crush. So I'll show you here. Well, it'd probably help if I had the opponent blocking. Super fast, and look at that guard step, man. That is crazy. So all your projectiles, and then it gives you a lot of time to just follow up and then put the pressure on them, because it guard crushes them. And the last spell in test case 1 is the opposite of the previous one I just showed you, as it slows all the spells down. But it is a very good tool to help you approach on your opponent. So go slow, then we kind of follow it. Look at that. Then we can run in and try to go for a grab or something, if they're not matching punch. Makes all the projectiles go a lot slower. Now let's go over the overdrives. Now Asuka has 2 overdrives, but technically he has 3. I'll show you what I mean. So if you summon one of your staffs that control the trajectory of your projectiles, if we use our super, the one with punch, it'll follow how it does with the staff. So let's try this one right here. That's the one that goes down, so it'll also go down. This is a slow one, so it'll also go slow. Maybe you can get a nice little mix if you run at your opponent and jump to the opposite side. Now this one, same thing. You'll also get a guard crush as well. And yeah, that's why I say that I think that there's technically 3, because if you do the one with kick instead, it won't be affected by the staffs at all. Now our last overdrive done with slash. This one lets us replace all our spells. So it's very effective, like if you don't have any spells left. So we summon all our staffs there. And if we use the overdrive, we get new ones. And we hit the corresponding button to get whatever that we want. Now, a cool trick to this is, let's say you're switching test case, and you want to get access to those spells right away, just go ahead and use that overdrive. And you get all the ones. I switched to 2, and these are all the ones that are in 2. So that's I'm sorry, I got distracted as a thing flew the opposite direction. But yeah, that's a cool way to use it. If like, instead of trying to replenish your spells, try to use it when you want to switch up your test case. That way you get all new different spells, and then it's like your opponent is fighting a whole new, well, opponent. And now I'll show you a safe jump after the grab. We're gonna do a punch after it hits, and then do a jump D. Now first we have our opponent jumping there, so you said that it hits. So as you see on recovery, he will jump. So we're doing punch, jump D, and that hits, and as you can see, he doesn't take off the ground. So that means he will be hit before he can get off the ground if he's jumping on wake up. Or, you know, hitting a button, he'll get hit. So now we switch that to a DP. Grab, do the same thing, punch, jump D, and we're able to block there. And that is our safe jump for our mid-screen throw. And lastly, I want to show you a high-low mix-up in the corner after you get a grab. So you get your grab in the corner and immediately do a jump slash. Now for the low portion, you just go into a 2S after you land. You have to go high, you backdash into the D. And just one more thing that I thought I should mention with Asuka. After you cast your spell, you can hold back, and then that will replace the spell in the spot. So you cast forward like your regular quarter circle forward, and then you can hit back, or technically you can do a quarter circle back. So I still do that for some odd reason, but you can just hit back and hit the corresponding button to immediately refill the spell. Now it might not be ideal to always do that because, you know, it does add more frames to it, but I like to do that because I like to play Asuka more as a zoner, or at least throw out some spells so I can encroach on my opponent. So yeah, you cast your spell, replace it, and you can just keep casting after that too. You don't always have to look at what spell you got. You know, maybe you're desperate, you just want to throw them out. But yeah, after you cast a spell, they can always be replaced. Just, you know, do it with a corresponding button. And my brain's kind of going there. But yeah, you do it forward and you hit back and you immediately replace the spell. So cast forward, hold back, hit the same corresponding button, and then get another spell. So that way you always stay full of spells, and then you can always just kind of work with what you got, as opposed to being like, you don't want to be out of spells like so, and then your opponent can just rush you down. You know you can't throw anything out, and he knows you're gonna try to look for an opportunity to create to get your spells out. So you might want to avoid that situation. Now if you do want to save frames, and you know you don't want to always replace your spell, be sure to have like one spell slot that you always have open to have a spell. You know, that way you always have something you can just throw out and replace that one, and for the rest of them you can just, you know, throw them out whenever you feel the need to. And that is my guide to Asuka. You know, if I'm being honest, when I first played the character on day 1, I thought the character was pretty bad, but obviously it was clear that I was just bad, because I think this character is super strong, and he's been a real joy to learn, man. And like, it's just cool to know that there's so much more to him, and you know, you're probably gonna run into a lot of assets who are gonna play differently, and I like that quality about a character. I like that like, you don't always know, like, you have certain characters that always play the same, right? You know, people play the same that same character the same way, as like pretty close to how other people do. But with Asuka, I feel like it's gonna be different, man, because he has 3 test cases and it's just full of all different spells, and it's just, the character's a blast, man. He's like Faust, but you know, not Faust. You know, not completely random, but kind of random, and he's just an all-around joy to play, man. So leave a like if this video has helped you in any way, and subscribe for daily fighting game content. And also, leave a comment and let me know if maybe I missed out something that can be pretty effective, as we all want to learn here. So if you leave that comment, then somebody else will read that comment and also know how to do said thing that you just said that I did not put. So yeah, go ahead and let me know if I left anything out. And that is the video. Thank you for watching.